So we bring on Janine Tucker now. Janine, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Happy to be with you guys.
So yeah, it's a privilege and an honor to have you on. And of course, I mean, you're finishing up a coaching career this upcoming season, an announcement you made a couple months ago. And I'm sure so much went into that at the time. What made the decision so difficult for you? What was one of those things that sort of made you hesitant at all, but eventually went to this decision at the end of the year?
Oh, God, what made it so hard was my girls. If you've even met one of them, you know how hard it would be to walk away from my team. But I have assured them I'm not going anywhere. It may be a new chapter for me, but I'm still going to stalk them and contact them and support them. And I'll be bringing food to all the tailgates and whatever I'll be able to do to support the program. It's, you're kind of forever a Blue Jay. So, what went into the decision was just feeling like after 29 years, there wasn't really a good time to tell my team, but it started to feel right for me that maybe there's just a new chapter, not just for me, but even for my squad and the program. There's a lot of things I'd like to do to help our sport, to help a lot of younger coaches. I kind of feel like I've been there, done that, and I can save a lot of people a lot of trouble. So I think that while it didn't, feel really good, I knew that it was coming. It's kind of was time. It just felt like the right time for there to be a little bit of a change and a new chapter. So it's going to be cool to be able to spend some more time with my family and think of some new ways to help grow the sport, help grow coaches, the young girls and women that are out there playing. I feel like I have some different things to offer them, and I'm just going to be the greatest Blue Jay supporter there is.
Yeah, and I like that you're not using the word retire, right? That's not part of this.
Yeah. We're not using the R word. We're switching gears. It's a new chapter. I feel like I can't come away from the sport. So I think it's just a new chapter and opportunities for growth. Change can be hard, but change prevents, or it actually promotes so much opportunities for growth. And that's what I've been talking to my team about, and honestly, they can do this. It's going to be cool to see what the next chapter looks like for Hopkins lacrosse. And as I mentioned, I'm just all in and supporting it.
Yeah, and what you have worked to build, I guess, from day one. I don't know if it's because never when you start something, and especially over this terms of 3 decades of what you put in, it probably doesn't look maybe like what you thought it would be. But from day one to now, I guess, what do you think is like one of the things that you think you did accomplish over the course, amidst all the other accolades and whatnot, but like in terms of just the emotions and the feelings and maybe a lasting impact, if you will?
I really appreciate that question. Watching the young women that I've had the privilege to coach kind of grow and then get into the real world and see what they've been able to do to impact our communities and society has been incredibly amazing for me. But what I really appreciate watching get cultivated over almost 30 years has been a really healthy team culture, and a team culture that is about family and taking care of each other and making the kid next to you look good and being a really good teammate and what we call a first-class citizen, and knowing that the sport of lacrosse has really helped shape me as a person, and I've tried to use it as a vehicle to shape my young women, not just for how many ground balls they can grab for us or how many points they can score, but how are they going to impact like the future and the youngsters that are behind them. And that's something I've really watched and kind of been so proud of, is the culture that we've created. And it's not always been perfect or rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, but that's what's been really cool about it, is watching these young women over 4 years and beyond kind of grow through the sport of lacrosse, which absolutely mirrors life. And having these amazing adventures together, I'm so grateful. So many great memories.
Amazing adventures. I like that a lot. Yeah. And you talk about building up that culture and that family, and you put work into something in life, or you put some investment into something, and you might not know what it's for at the end. And you have found out, I guess, in a big way here this past fall, Janine, as, of course, it's been an up and down fall. After the announcement, some things have gone on, you know, with your life and your program that you didn't expect to see, and you've had your program that you've built up rally around you and all of that. And I think at the time, of course, in those 30 years, you never knew maybe what it was for, but it's come to fruition right now. If you can just maybe take us briefly, maybe through how it sort of helped you along with what you've gone through these past few weeks and months.
Wow, I appreciate that. So after the announcement and right when we kind of got things settled, I ended up getting sick with COVID and it morphed into COVID pneumonia. So I ended up finding myself in the hospital, unfortunately. Was also trying to care for my dad, who also got COVID and unfortunately passed away on October 5th. So it was a lot of kind of devastating blows that kept coming my way and my family's way. And, you know, there were a number of days and this stretch of time where I felt very helpless. And I never felt, though, alone. And that's something that is true of being a great teammate. So whether it was my team, their parents, their grandparents, my staff, our administrators from Hopkins, our alums, fellow coaches, who I know we want to kick each other's butts on the field, but they're checking in on me. And it wasn't like one-offs. It was like consistent checking in. And I think that's what just gave me such strength and extra courage and took my fear away, that I have this tribe, this squad, this family that, number one, I don't want to let down. So I got to get my butt through this. And that really lifted me up. And that's something that from day one in our program, we talk about playing with joy. We talk about coaching with joy and bringing joy. Even when you're trying to, you know, kick somebody else's butt as your opponent, you can still do it with a lot of joy. And that's what helped uplift me, was all the love that I felt from the lacrosse community and my Blue Jay family. So that to me was a testament that the message about our team culture, being a family, sticking with one another through thick and thin, and being a great teammate, I just lived it. I had everyone around me being the greatest teammates, and I'm so very grateful.
And think about sort of the lesson, you know, we all get in perspective at times in our life, but you make that announcement at the end of the summer. I remember I looked at the headline. I'm like, oh, wow, like, we love Janine. Like, she's made such a big impact on the sport, and she will continue to do so, just in a different way, as we mentioned here in this interview. But also for you, I'm sure that was a big emotional moment. And then this other stuff, you know, big things in life sort of happen. I'm sure that's something that you can talk to your team about and be like, yeah, like, lacrosse is big, but like there's other stuff going on in this world that really matters. And I'm sure that was sort of hit you personally at the same time too.
Oh, hit me like a ton of bricks. And it really, though, I thought I had solid perspective kind of before all these things went down in my world. But my perspective has changed even to be even deeper and to be more grateful and to want to be more energized. That's one thing I'm annoyed about this recovering from this. You know, I got to get all my energy back. I'm working on it. But to be able to honor my dad, you know, and honor my team and the Blue Jay family and my staff, who are complete rock stars, you know, for any head coaches out there that will hear this, I mean, hug your assistants, because when I went man down, my assistants, we didn't miss a beat. And Coach Tara took right over, and Coach Kristen and Meisner, our Dolo, and Logan, our graduate assistant. And it just really gave me a tremendous amount of pride to see how they were so prepared to step up and had the courage to do so. So that was really cool. But boy, my perspective is about gratitude, extra joy. Tell the person next to you you love them. Don't sweat the small stuff. It is not worth it. And life is too short. When you get scared like that, you realize how precious every moment is. And I think that's something that for this year is a little emotional for me, because even something as simple as having a meeting with one of my players in my office, I'm trying to soak every second of it in, because that's going to change. And even though it's something small, like being out on the turf, you know, oh God, we have so much to be grateful for.
Yeah, and I think probably your athletes are going to learn a lesson or two themselves through all this and watching how you've approached it. Sometimes not being able to watch from home too well amidst your recovery, but I think they'll get it eventually, right?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And you look at sort of your perspective on this world of lacrosse in terms of the individual efforts you have made to help some of these athletes over the years, and like you said, develop them for life. What are some of the things that you want to do, moving forward here, past the coaching, in which you think maybe you can make a positive impact on this world of lacrosse too?
Another really great question, and I will share with you that where that comes from was my very dear friend Diane Jeppy Akins. Way back when I played for Diane at Loyola, and then I had the pleasure of coaching with her. She was my mentor. She was my role model. Like, that's who I wanted to be, and I tried to suck every minute out of her, as a coach and as a friend and as a person. And what happened was Diane and I had been working on a coaching book together called The Baffled Parent's Guide to Coaching Girls Lacrosse. And one of Diane's goals, visions, was she realized way back then that there were a lot of moms and dads that were getting involved and trying to coach their daughters. And so she said, Janine, we have to help these people. A lot of them have not played lacrosse, or they don't understand the women's game, the girls' game. I want to write books, and I want us to give everything we can to helping grow our sport and grow coaches and grow the young women that are so involved, because it's all about life lessons. And so Diane passed away before we could finish together that book. So I had a co-writer work with me to finish it in her name. And before she passed, she made me promise that I would write and put on paper and give my whole playbook and not hold back. She was all about, if you teach someone something and they get better at it than you, then that helps you grow as a coach. So she said, Janine, you have to promise me you're going to do this for me. And that I've carried that with me. And so I've wanted to present. Every time I present, it's in honor of Diane. I'm trying to help people grow as she helped me. So I've written, I think it's like 6 books now that have to do with coaching and lacrosse and growing young women and coaches at every level. And I've loved every minute of it. I created a lacrosse and life journal for my team that then spilled out into the general public, that was literally had Diane's fingerprints all over it, everything I learned from her. So that's the things that I want to do to give back. I want to keep presenting. I want to continue speaking at US Lacrosse. I want to have one-on-ones with coaches or players or parents. I think parents need me. I can kind of save them the trouble of a lot of stress if we can talk through these recruiting processes. So I'm up for anything right now. And as long as it's helping, young women and athletes grow and coaches to love the profession as much as I have, that's my goal.
Where do you want the sport of lacrosse to grow the most? Where do you think needs the most work, if you will, that you want to impact in a positive way, like you just mentioned?
That's a really good question. Right now, the women playing our sport are bigger, stronger, faster than I have ever seen. They are so incredibly skilled. It is like scary good people out there. And it is such an inspiration. And I think that one way that lacrosse can help us is, while social media can be a very positive thing, it can also be very detrimental. And I feel that if we continue to have our women's lacrosse athletes and coaches be incredible role models and get really healthy messages out about competition, about sport, about your body, about your health, I feel that would be a way to truly impact, using that kind of platform, the social media platform, to really positively impact anyone who wants to get involved in athletics. So that's something that just popped into my brain as you asked me that question.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I know you're always thinking of ways to do that. And like you mentioned, and this might sound cheesy, but that's what making the world a better place is all about. I mean, you impact the world around you, and that keeps on sending feelers out. And you're doing that on a daily basis, and you're going to continue to do so. I think that's really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think that's really neat. And we know you've had some tough days in the last month, so we appreciate you coming on. And I'm glad you've been able to get back with your team once again and feeling better, and too, and that's so important. And we know this season, all eyes are going to be glued to Johns Hopkins now. You know that, right? I mean, we're going to be watching. Not that they're not usually, but I'm just saying more than ever.
I couldn't love it anymore. I said to my team, and my team has said back to me, last year, best year. And I'm not sure what that means. It didn't quite start out the way I thought it would, but when I see the residual, things that happened from getting sick and not being there, it's been glorious. And I've been so proud of what I've seen. So we want everyone to follow us, and we hope to uplift people's spirits. We're going to play our faces off for everybody with a ton of joy, a ton of energy, and then we'll see what the next chapter looks like.
Yeah, we can't wait to see.
Goal, just so we're clear, our goal is to be on Homewood Field in May.
Okay.
Because we are hosting the Final Four, and that's where we want to find ourselves. So just to be clear what we're trying to accomplish.
We will make sure. We'll bring this back in May. Don't worry, Janine.
That's our goal. Thank you. Thank you.
Janine Tucker, we appreciate you joining us. Stay healthy, stay safe, and enjoy the rest of this fall with your team, okay?
Will do. Thanks, guys. See ya.